Alright everyone, welcome to Arsenal Fan TV. This is my review of the game this afternoon against Newcastle United, and we really did see two halves of Arsenal today. We saw the good side and the bad side, maybe the more tiring side, especially in that second half, but a very, very hard-fought victory. Newcastle played very well in that second half. We seem to slacken off, and we've come away with a 2-1 victory. It's good to see Arsenal show this kind of fight and character. So many times in recent years we've seen an Arsenal team that would have just depleted, completely deflated, having conceded a goal. We sort of 4-4 a couple of years ago, and it's good to see that we actually managed to grind out a result, get a difficult trip away from home, a good long journey considering we've had to travel to France in midweek. We've travelled all the way to practically the opposite end of England, and we've come away with a good hard-fought victory. And now we go into the international break, allowing ourselves a little bit of a rest, and we've secured a top 4 position for a couple of weeks at least. So that's certainly the big positive that we can take from today. Of course, Olivier Giroud getting another 2 goals. It's really great to see that. He's absolutely bang on form in a moment. I'll get onto that a little bit later. But let's just first of all take a look at the Arsenal starting 11. We started with Callum Chambers at right back, which is the first thing that I want to take a look at, because I think he was one of the poorest players in the back line today. I certainly think that our back four was very well structured today, and I think that he was the one key weakness, and he doesn't strike me as a right back, and I'm really hoping that his long-term future at the club isn't going to be in that position. He looked so promising at the start of the season when he was playing those games against Crystal Palace, against Manchester City in the Cup, the Community Shield. At the start of the season he was playing at centre-back role. I thought he was absolute class there, and it surprises me that even though we are a bit limited with options at right back, we are persisting by playing him in that area. It does come a bit as a surprise to me, as he doesn't seem to be improving in that area of the pitch, and I thought that was shown yet again today. And I just hope that at some point he's going to be reverted back into that centre-back role, where I think that's where his long-term future lies. But we also saw Gabriel come back into the squad, a very good performance from Gabriel coming in for Per Mertesacker. A good bit of rotation within the side. It's certainly nice to see that we were able to do that. But going up top, we had Coquelin playing in the centre defensive midfield role. Had another excellent game today. He was absolutely superb in the middle of the park. And then we had Danny Welbeck and Alexis Sanchez on the flanks. Bit surprised that Alexis Sanchez didn't get a rest. I thought he certainly had a good game today. He does look very tired at times. We saw him come off in about the 60th minute, but I thought he had some excellent moments in the game, some excellent pieces of skill. Worked tirelessly. Danny Welbeck on the other flank had an odd game, I think. I think the second half he didn't really turn up for it. The first half was good. He had a good chance to score. Wasn't clinical. As we know of Danny Welbeck, he's not very composed in front of goal. Worked hard, made some excellent runs, bursts going forward, but I don't think he looked a little bit fatigued, I think. I think that's certainly the one thing I can take from this game. And we saw Santi Cazorla and Aaron Ramsey deployed in the middle. I thought Ramsey didn't have the best of games, not the kind of games that we saw against Monaco or against West Ham the other week. Wasn't his best game. Cazorla didn't have his best game either. I think he certainly dictated the play well, but it looked like he went off with a little niggle, which may have hindered his progress in this game. And of course, Giroud up top, who I will get on to a little bit later. Of course, the major absence for us was Mesut Ozil, and I think that although some people might say that we might not miss him in this game, I don't think we missed him up until when we conceded. He seems to have this kind of subtle style of play where he seems to calm down the players around him, slow the play down, play that subtle ball which can open up space and really break a whole back line, which I think we missed in this game. I do think we missed Mesut Ozil to an extent, but I think we coped with him being injured. It just shows how valuable a player of his quality is to the team. But getting into the game, it started off pretty much as I would have expected. That first couple of minutes we dominated possession. We were slowly building up to the Newcastle goal. Didn't really create many chances, but Newcastle grew into the game that little bit more, made it difficult for us and had chances of their own. They came close with the likes of Jose Perez. He was the one player that I was certainly worried about in this game, and I completely forgot about the threat that Moussa Sissoko had. So many of their players just haven't been turning up for Newcastle, and it was kind of typical that the likes of Cabela, Perez and Sissoko really turned on the heat today, and they had really good performances. Sissoko was excellent in the middle of the park for them. Cabela was excellent throughout the whole game. Jose Perez offside a lot, but was certainly causing a lot of problems up top for our centre halves. But they certainly did pose a threat going forward, and I think they dealt very well with the absences that they had in pretty much every area of the pitch. They had Cisse out, they had most of the back line out, they had Jack Colback playing at left back for them. So it was certainly going to be a difficult game for Newcastle, and I think one thing I can say, Newcastle fans, they can take a lot of pride from this game, I think, especially in that second half. Well, maybe not pride, but certainly confidence going into the remainder of the season. Although they've been having some shocking, diabolical results and they've looked very unmotivated, they certainly played for John Carver in that second half and gave everything, and they're going to feel a little bit hard done by that they haven't come out of this game with at least a point to their name, because you could argue that they did deserve it because they fought so well in that second half. But we did get our first goal through Olivier Giroud from a set piece. I'm glad to see first and foremost that we are actually doing something from our set pieces. Last season we did practically nothing from our corners and free kicks. This season we're making the most of them. It was a great free kick and I think it was by Santi Cazorla. Played it into Danny Welbeck. Lovely flick on by him, and Giroud, great finish past the keeper. Another goal for Giroud. Absolute class finish by him. Couldn't be happier. And he's just so composed in front of goal. So cool, so level-headed. And considering he's been out for 3 months, he's had an immaculate season. Honestly, I don't know how people can slate the guy. He is a really, really good striker for Arsenal, and he seems to have everything about him apart from a lack of pace, but he held the ball up really well today. Certainly man of the match. And got into really good positions and took his goals really well when they came to him. Very clinical today, which I think he was guilty of not doing in that Monaco game. But that seems to be singled out as a bit of a blip now. Every other performance, he's been very consistent. He's scoring practically every other game for us. He's been absolute class this season. And he got a second goal shortly after. But first of all, just before Giroud did score, we had another chance to make it 2-0. Danny Welbeck, excellent work by Alexis Sanchez. Lovely bit of skill there. Class in that first half, Sanchez. Plays it through to Danny Welbeck. And it should have been in the back of the net. It was poor from Welbeck in my opinion, and it wasn't the first chance he had like that today. He squandered a couple of chances, wasn't clinical in front of goal when he had to be, in a frustrating game at times from him. But shortly after, corner from Santi Cazorla, played in to Olivier Giroud. It was very poor from Mike Williamson. Giroud getting over the top of him, putting it in the back of the net. Great header, great powerful header to put it past Tim Krul. 2-0, and it looked like smooth sailing from there on in, and it was kind of a question of, with about 15-17 minutes to go in that first half, it was a question of how many could we get before the interval, and we should have gone into that second half 3 or 4 nil up because we had the chance to do it, but we didn't take them when they came to us. We took the foot off the gas a little bit and we sat back, and we didn't really pose too much of a threat to the Newcastle goal after that point, which was annoying because we did see in that second half that it came back to haunt us. They got a goal back through Moussa Sissoko. Great work by Ryan Taylor first of all, who I thought had a very good game for Newcastle. He skinned Danny Welbeck first of all, then played the ball through to Remy Cabella. Monreal caught wandering, and Cabella plays the ball in to Sissoko, and it was in the back of the net. A great finish past Sissoko, almost a carbon copy of the chance Welbeck had had in the first half, but 2-1, the pressure was on, and then Newcastle just didn't let off. They constantly pressed and pressed and pressed. They penned us in, didn't give us any time on the ball. Players running into dangerous positions, and it was very hard to defend against them. So I can take confidence from how the defence performed. I thought Koscielny and Gabriel were immaculate today. Monreal had a good game apart from maybe the error that you could criticise him on for the first goal. Coughlin, I think, was... I think the real time he missed Coughlin was obviously when he went off the pitch because he poor old nose again, but I felt he was kind of out of position on the goal that we did concede as well. But overall, a really good performance from Coughlin, almost a world-class performance from him. And it was certainly good to see that we got in between the teeth, that bit of grit, and we, saw it out. We wouldn't have done that in the past. I certainly can take confidence from that. It's a big 3 points after we've just given absolutely everything in midweek against Monaco in France. So we were obviously going to be tired. Done a lot of travelling in this past week or so. We've got a little break now, of course, with the international break coming up, and it's a big 3 points for us. Of course, like I said at the start of the video, we've solidified a spot in the top 4 for the time being. We've got Man United and Liverpool playing tomorrow, so one of them's going to drop points. That's going to do us the world of good, and it's a good position to be in, certainly a good position to be in. We've got the FA Cup to play for, we've got a game against Liverpool in a couple of weeks. If we could beat them, we'd be in a very, very good position. Then we've got Burnley after that, should be winning that game. But we can't underestimate any of the teams that we come up against in these remaining games. We've got to be winning every single one. But I can take confidence from that performance. The second half wasn't great, but we defended resiliently. We still had players absent for this game. It wasn't our first choice starting 11. And we did have a chance to make it 3-1 right at the very end. Bellerin should have played into Giroud and given him his hat-trick. But unfortunately, it's just another brace for Giroud. But a lot of positives we can take from today. Like I said, we've cemented that place in the top 4 for now. If you have enjoyed the video, guys, do give it a like, rate, and subscribe to Arsenal Fan TV. And as well as that, check out my own channel, AFC Game by Game. And I'll speak to you soon, guys.